Hello folks, Mark Anthony with TechwareLabs, and today we'll be taking a look at Thermaltake's Level 10GT LCS case. We'll start here at the front and we'll work our way around. At the top here we've got two free 5 1/4 inch drive bays. On the typical Level 10 GT case you would have 4 available 5 1/4 inch drive bays. Because this is the LCS version and this comes pre-installed with Thermaltake's Big Water 850 GT liquid cooling system that occupies these bottom two 5 1/4 inch drive bays, you've only got 2 available 5 1/4 inch drive bays here at the top. You've got one external 3.5 inch drive bay here, and you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hot swap drive bays. This lock here will actually lock the drive carriers for these drive bays, so that once you have your hard drive installed, you can lock this up and prevent them from being easily removed. Over here is your control panel, power on switch, your reset switch, your hard drive activity LED, 1, 2, 3, 4 USB 2.0 ports, and a microphone and headphone jack. Now I'll go ahead and pull the front of this off the case, the front of the case off of here so you can see what's going on really behind the scenes. Every fan intake on this case has a removable drive screen that will filter out dust, dog hair, just about anything that these PCs kind of love to pull inside the case. So having these removable screens is a very nice feature. Let me put this out of the way here and let you see what's going on behind the scenes. This is a 200 mil intake fan that will pull cool air across your drive carriers and into your case. This is the Big Water 850 GT liquid cooling system that I mentioned before. One thing I want to draw your attention to is even though you have 2 available 5 1/4 inch drive bays here to play with, this bottom drive bay is really in question. The fact that I'm not sure if I can show it to you, but here's the cap for your reservoir for refilling the coolant, which you'll have to do, periodically. And because of the way that this is oriented, if you were to have a full size or a relatively deep 5 1/4 inch device in this bottom slot, it may make it pretty impossible to access that refill cap. So it'd be something to consider here as what you decide to install here. But that pretty much is the front of it, so I'll go ahead and pull this around to the side. This is the side of the case. These are your 5 drive carriers that I mentioned previously. Thermaltake, I think, kind of went the extra distance here with these drive carriers and the fact that there's spring-loaded flaps that are installed for accessing the actual drive carriers. That when you're not accessing them, that has a nice finished look. But if you want to access these drive carriers and remove them, you just simply put your finger and pull out. They pull out pretty easy. Now these drive carriers are nice. They'll accommodate both 3.5 inch and 2.5 inch devices. So you won't have to have any kind of conversion brackets here to install smaller 2.5 inch devices. Once you've got those installed, you just simply slide the drive carrier back in, snaps into place, and everything's pretty much done. One thing up here on the side is, I don't know if you can see it, but this says hanger here. You can actually pull this out, remove this rubber grommet, and install this headphone hanger. Goes right here, allows you to but basically gives you a place to hang your headphones. Seems simple enough, but I gotta say, little detail things like this are really what sets a lot of Thermaltake's cases apart from I think some of the competitors. So kudos to them, very helpful. So now this is the side access panel. I'm accustomed to having a couple of thumb screws here that once removed, the side panel will just simply slide off. But on this case, to access this side panel, there's a button down here that once pressed, the side panel door will hinge open. Makes it very nice and easy to get in your case while it's running if need be. And if you're anything like me, I'm probably in my case more than I care to admit. So having the ability to have this side panel so easy to get in and out of is very nice. Now, on the outside of this, I'm not sure if you can see it, but there's a lever here that you can manipulate up and down. And what that actually does is it manipulates the orientation of these fins that are on the inside of this 200 mil fan that's on the side access vent. This allows you to have a little bit more control over where the incoming incoming air off this 200 mil fan is going to go to. So depending on how your video cards are oriented in here, you can manipulate these fins to get maximum airflow to those video cards. And again, this is your side intake, and just like I mentioned earlier, they all have removable screens, and this one does as well. This lock is an additional lock for locking this side access panel. Same key, but will work both locks. Another little attention to detail item that I wanted to kind of cover is the power for this 200 mil side intake fan runs off of this pressure contact that once the door is closed, power is applied to the fan. If you open the door, this pressure switch disengages, the power disengages, the fan will turn off. So it's not running while it's open. So if you happen to have this door open while the system is up and running, you don't have any danger of getting a finger or anything else caught in there. So again, another kudos level of detail item that Thermaltake thought of. So on the inside of this case, I don't know if I'm sure you can see these. These are your two tubes that are coming off the Thermaltake 850 GT. One's coming off the pump, one's coming off the reservoir. This would then create the single loop, the liquid cooling loop that would go into your CPU water block, and then into this what's up here, which is a 240 mil radiator, out of the radiator and back into the pump. So this is the single loop setup that comes pre-installed on this Thermaltake LCS case. Some other items to kind of look at inside here are all these rubber grommets that are in the back of this motherboard drive tray. I'm sorry, the motherboard tray that basically allow you to run all your cables behind the tray itself to maximize a clean and unobstructed look inside the case, to maximize the airflow. So this cable management makes it nice and easy to kind of hide all those wires in behind the motherboard tray. Outside of that, you've got your front panel cables and all these USB front panel cables that are in here, and powers for your fans. That should pretty much do it on the side here. So I'll go ahead. Well, actually, before I do that, on the bottom where the power supply is installed, you have the option that you have an optional space to install a 120 mil intake fan here on the bottom. This entire bottom is graded, and there's also an installed screen that can be removed. Just as I mentioned, every intake has a removable screen on here, and that also covers any intake fan that might be installed in the power supply. So this entire bottom of the case has a removable screen that will cover both the optional, if you want to install, 120 mil intake fan, as well as the power supply. Okay, now that we're done, so we'll go ahead and move it around to the back. Nothing real exciting going on here in the back of a case fan, but some things to point out. You've got some rubber grommets here in the event that you want to run some external liquid cooling on this case. This is a 140 mil rear exhaust fan, and here are all your PCIe slots, and your power supply would go here. That's the back. Now I went ahead and removed this side panel just so you can kind of see what's going on behind the scenes on this side of the case. These are all the rubber grommets that I mentioned earlier that were on the back of this motherboard tray. This motherboard tray is not removable. I question how much of that's really an issue. I know some people like removable motherboard trays. I think on this case, given its size and the fact that they give you this very large access panel for getting in behind the CPU, probably negates the need to have this tray to be removable, but it's something to point out that it's not removable. Again, you've got all your cable management back here. This is your toolless access to all your 5 1/4 inch bays, and these are the back end of your 5 hot swap drive bays. This is a ribbon cable for power, and next to that would be all your SATA connections that would go to the motherboard. Outside that, these feet will swing out if you want to manipulate those for greater stability. Up here, what would appear to be a handle is in fact, I think, exactly that. I question how much you would actually move a case like this given its size, and especially once you start to install your devices inside of it, it would probably get to be rather heavy. But I will say, moving it around the office, having this handle has been a nice little feature. On the top of the case, I'll just kind of tilt this down so you can see. We've got some switches and connections up here that I want to draw your attention to. The first one's fan LED. This fan LED switch basically allows you to switch the color of the two pre-installed 200 mil fans between red, green, or blue, which is nice because it's kind of disheartening to spend money on a nice, pretty case to only gut all the fans because they're not the color that you want. So having the ability to change the color is nice. The next two switches above that are low and high for your fan speeds. It's nice to have those externally available. Gives you some control over how much airflow that you may need at any given time, so that's nice to have. You've got two USB 3.0 ports and one eSAT connection. That pretty much sums up the case. From all feature standpoint, I want to pull a couple other things here that you would get with this LCS version, one of which is your 3/8 inch liquid cooling tube. It comes in this kind of a neon green color that may not be everybody's favorite, but this is what comes with it. You also get a CPU water block from Thermaltake. Comes with just about every bracket needed to install recent or current, a wide range really, and I would suggest that you go and look this up just to make sure that that your particular CPU may be covered. But chances are it will be. It's a very wide range of CPU as far as Intel and AMD support for this water block. So that's that, and then of course you get coolant to install once you've got everything kind of connected the way it should be, and a coolant reservoir refill container. So that's everything that you get with this case. My name is Mark Anthony, TechwareLabs. We appreciate your time, and we hope this review has been both informative and helpful. We thank you for your time, and have a great day.